If you want to quit drinking and start creating, watch this video. This channel is about DIY home music production, home audio production. Anybody can do it, and it got me off of a bad relationship with booze. You can do the same for you. Further information is in the description. All right. So, NENKO. Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to your workflow today. And it really is nice to get out of my own head, so to speak, out of my own spaces. And I really do enjoy those electronic spaces quite a lot, especially when it's being thoughtfully and artfully done. I'm not a big fan of, like, rave music and, Goa music and Koh Samui music. Right? But you're an artist, man. Like, I can see it. I can hear it. It's thoughtful. Yeah, I dig it. I really do. I might like to. I'd be interested in collaborating with you, if that could ever be possible. I got ideas as I was listening to your work. Anyway, I mentioned in a comment under your video, you were about to pull up a overdrive distortion plugin, and I made a comment about air windows distortions, and so I'm going to talk about that first, just to give you some idea of how subtle they can be. Now, they can also be quite extreme, but some of them are designed to be extremely subtle, like for mastering purposes, subtle. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. So, let me just scoot myself out of the way here. And the first distortion tool that we're going to look at here is called Zoom. And I'm not going to read through the entire blurb just to save time, but I might read some excerpts. But, okay, Zoom is a bank of density is the name of another tool. Zoom is a bank of density-like wave shapers for subtly modulating peak energy. Okay. And then, this guy is, he's a mathematical savant. He's, from what I understand, pretty highly autistic. He has autism. And a lot of his technical, he writes, he's a very good writer. I often don't understand the technical details of his writing, but he usually dumbs it down for people like me towards the end of his blurbs, his little essays here. I'll just read the first paragraph. This is a little piece of what could become a new mastering plugin, but I've got a lot of testing to do to work out whether that should happen. Zoom is wave shapers, as many as 5 stacked up for high gain levels, and most settings will use at least a couple. They're applied sort of in parallel. The basic idea is a lot like density, but handled very differently. Okay, the purpose is to try and alter very strongly the peak energy and only the peak energy of the sound while leaving the loudness more or less alone. That's why the negative settings below 0.5 don't get as much quieter as those in density. It's taking the hottest peaks and further boosting them while cutting back quieter stuff. Boosts still work as in density, except the character will be a little different. Okay. Let me see. This is a good paragraph. Okay. That's what Zoom was coded to do, and why it's hard to hear what it's doing until you crank it up to the point of obviousness. It is also a simple wave shaper, so you can do that while oversampling it in the DAW, which of course I won't be doing because used normally it'll barely create any harmonics at all. It's a zoom lens for audio. Everything is still in focus and looks the same, but the presentation has shifted in the desired direction, probably only discernible by meter. Okay, so I'm going to have meter up and running while I A/B a few things for you here before I get on to the main focus of this mixing session here, which is going to be probably more interesting. But I did mention this in the comments, so I wanted to give you an idea what I'm talking about. So, let me see. Is this okay? No, it's Inflamer. We're going to start with Zoom. Now, it's going to be a little bit rough on the ears at first because I've got these iron oxide 5, elation, focus, and Inflamer. I've got these, particularly the first three, I've got these bypassed. I just want you to hear what Zoom is doing. It's quite subtle, all right? But I'm going to start playback from I don't know if you've heard this song from beginning to end, but anyway, I'm going to start it from the beginning, the intro, and then when the vocal comes in, I'm going to start to toggle right here. I'm going to toggle Zoom off and on like this. And see if you can hear what it's doing. It's extremely subtle, and there are probably some, I don't know, there are probably people that couldn't hear the difference. I can. But it's these tiny little differences that, they really add up. And although they could not be discernible to, let's say, an audience member, they are discernible in meter, oftentimes. And meter is designed to tame and shape. It's like instrument flying in an airplane. Okay. One thing that I'm using it for is to prevent fatigue in the listener, ear fatigue, brain fatigue in the listener, the kind of fatigue that comes from aliasing, distortion, and overslewed trebles. It also helps me to work longer because when I get those things reined in and tamed and smoothed out, then I don't get fatigued nearly as quickly and I can work longer. So, that much said, I'm going to go ahead and get this window out of the way. This is the toggle for Zoom right here. All right, and I'm just going to play back from the beginning. When the vocal comes in, I'm going to toggle it on and off, And yeah, see if you can hear what's going on. Ready? Okay. It's hard to describe what that difference is, but I don't know what you would call it. It's like a little bit of how could I say, it's a little bit of a shift in depth. It kind of it brings the vocal out from the mix a little finer distinction, while at the same time kind of gluing it in to the mix a little bit better. It makes it a tiny bit brighter. It's just a different tone, a different color. Now I'm going to go ahead and play back the same section, and I'm going to leave Zoom on, and I'm going to turn on iron oxide, which is a old school heavily colored air windows tape emulation. This is a very versatile tool, and I think you're gonna hear what it does instantly. This is the first thing I'm just gonna toggle these three back on in order as playback continues. Iron oxide is the first one. The second one is called elation. I am going to start elation at dry wet of 1.0 maxed out. And when I engage this one right here, the second gray box, elation, please watch the bright percentage. It should jump up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial dry wet from 1 down to 0.5, and you should see that brightness begin to sink down again. I'm going for a sonority of around 80, average of around 80%, brightness of around 20%. Again, on average. Just for reference, think of Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream. All right, the really heavy pumpkin stuff. Typically, let's say Cherub Rock, the first track on that album. That's anywhere from 90 to 95% sonority and 5 to 10% brightness and 0 darkness. Just for reference, okay? And then after I toggle in elation and make that adjustment, I'm going to toggle in focus. Focus brings out clarity by distorting. So again, this is a saturation distortion by distorting. Focus brings out clarity by distorting. So again, technically, this is, I guess, a distortion. tool. Aggressive, subtle, flexible. All right. So just use your ears so the first thing I've done in order to rein in those trebles and prevent ear fatigue is with this thing called Air 4. All right. So when I start playback here with Air 4 bypassed, you see where it says overslew? You'll see these red spikes going up here where the trebles are overslewing. And when I kick in Air 4, that's going to go away. But you're not going to hear any loss of perceived brightness. But this does make a difference over time. Having this on does prevent fatigue. I don't know if you have to worry about this stuff with electronic music. This is the reason I'm calling your attention to this tonight is partly what I'm showing you right now, but partly because I'm going to be attempting to texturize a wall of sound. And you could, in some ways, you could look at it like I'm trying to achieve a kind of electronica sound with a wall of sound that's been produced by guitars, right? Guitars through various effects. The spaciousness of what you do is just wonderful. This doesn't have that kind of space. It's very full, and so I have to chisel and engrave and granulate to achieve texture and distinction. All right, anyway, before I do these three up here, check out what Air 4 does. So you see these spikes right there? Air 4 is going on right now. And the overslew spikes disappear.
But I had had it up to here with all their fake ass laws. I'm nothing but a walking.
Again, very subtle. But okay, so here we go. Again, I'm going to turn on. First, I'm going to turn on iron oxide 5, the tape emulation. Then I'm going to turn on elation, which is tone color. All right. And then I'm going to turn on focus, which is saturation distortion. Again, many, if not most of these tools are intended to bring an analog vibe to digital audio because the creator is a big fan of old analog tape sound. All right, so here we go. Without further ado. Again, off. This is iron oxide 5.
But I had had it up to here with all their fake ass laws. I'm nothing but a
Okay, next is going to be elation.
probable cause. Sometimes I see this world ain't nothing but a set of deadly jaws designed to chew apart.
Watch the brights go up.
And spit it into flaws when I am plotting my escape. They
Sometimes meter freezes.
gives me pauses that gorilla in the
Sometimes it takes a bit. Uptake.
that gorilla in the corner of the room.
see brightness climbing, getting over 40%.
So heavy. Once upon a time I lost a piece of my mind to a flash of summer.
Now I'm going to dial dry wet down to 0.5.
And I surely would have lost my way, but for some friends who were kind enough to lead me back along the labyrinths that left behind. Still when I'm groping for my keys, the only thing I seem to find is that gorilla in the corner.
The brightness should be coming down momentarily.
That gorilla in the corner of the room. He's so heavy, so heavy. He's so heavy.
And it's not. Okay. Come on, meter. Okay, I took it down to 0. Now here it comes plummeting down. 0.5. It should settle out around 20%. That's where it should be. Now, just for your reference, here's another tone color. This is a Neve console emulator. I'm considering using this one. You can hear the bass. I'm thinking about, I'm going to try this tone color, channel 5. You got a choice between Neve, API, SSL. Neve just brings out the bass line is a very important part of this song. I'm also considering this one. Now, here we've got Neve, or I can choose TIAC, which I also like. I could also use, there's also drive and output, but I'm not going to mess with that right now. Okay, I'm going to see how this tone color, channel 9 on TIAC sounds on Mixdown. Now, focus.
I have entertained the hope of ascertaining the truth. Meanwhile, who knows how many blue moons have gone by, and then
Quite the diff, eh?
I've just been chasing dancing cats across a hot tin roof to nab a postulate of which the one and only proof is that gorilla in
That
the corner.
really reins it in.
That gorilla
Gives it a much softer, more analog vibe, but it doesn't cost a lot of like detail.
so heavy, so heavy. He's so heavy, so heavy.
All right, I may tweak that a little more later, but for now. And then here is Inflamer. Inflamer. That's bringing back some inflamer. You know, I rolled off, massaging the harsh trebles, reining in and massaging the harsh trebles. And then inflamer, to go back to the beginning. And what is inflamer? Another wave shaper. All right. So, you know, a lot of these tools, and this is under the category of subtlety. These are very, very useful tools. When you want to achieve something that, like, your first inclination would be to reach for some kind of EQ, even if it's like a dynamic EQ or multi-band compressor, right? But you don't want to do EQ. It's not in the master bus, not at the end of the signal. I've already put in, you know, ultrasonic filters to prevent aliasing, distortion, and I just don't want to EQ. I don't want to introduce problems at the end. You can get EQ like colorations without EQ, right? So inflamer, to my ear, it kind of brings back, so that there's a somewhat more mellow analog, that rounded off treble. It's more mellow, it's more analog, but inflamer, it may be a little bit too much right now, but this one sounds very different between the drive setting of 55 and 57, but it's bringing back a little bit of that fire that kind of got a little bit of that some mid-range energy that gets taken out from the previous treble taming tools. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and just toggle inflamer on and off. All right, zoom. Okay, there's inflamer, right? This one right here. This one right here. I got to remember myself. We don't really need to look at meter. So is inflamer off. On. Hear that?
I'm nothing but a walking case of probable cause. Sometimes I see this world ain't nothing but a set of deadly jaws designed to chew apart
Mid-range warmth just brings it back out. Just a little bit of mid-range fire. Okay, and then after that is zoom. We already done zoom. Inner stage, that's another thing. Not sure about this one yet. I stuck it in there. I'm still not sure if it's really doing a whole lot. I'm not going to mess with it right now. And then finally, and then purest warm. You can actually see what this one is doing on meter. Check it out. Purest warm adds dual Y wet controls for each side of the waveform. Okay, so you could listen to, see if you can hear what it's doing. All right. And watch meter as well. Watch the peaks up here. See that? And again, once the voice comes in.
But I have had it up to here with all their fake ass laws. I'm nothing but a
kind of a final polish on the trebles, I suppose. And then finally, our Slayer, Air 4, and then meter. Okay, so and I'm just scratching the surface here, man. I'd really like to know how, if these tools bring anything to the table for you, making electronic music. But again, Chris Johnson, the inventor of these tools, I think in his younger days he was he made a lot of electronic music, and he still does make electronic music. He's into it. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to move meter down here for the time being. Still with me? All right. So you can see this is. I want to mention this. I missed the deadline on that free phaser plugin. Oh, I clipped the master. How the hell did that happen? Hang on. I want to be peaking around -3 right here. Okay, good enough. I did download another. Okay, so it's a VST, but I guess it's a VST instrument. And it's called Vital. And I'm trying to figure out how to track with it. Here's what it looks like. It's a synth. It's a VST synth. And so let me see. I got this muted right now. Hang on. I'm going to solo it. And I want to do like see, I need a controller, right? Oh, let's see what this does on meter. Hang on. See, that's A. Right, 84, sonority 15. Anyway, okay, look. Get this out of the way again. So here's the deal. I inserted a regular audio track and stuck Vital in, and as you see under preferences, I've got my a sound card for the input driver, sound card for output driver. And so I'm getting signal. And I also inserted soft synth track. And I chose Vital 3. With this one also, as you can hear, I get... Hang on. Ugh. Okay, so I get audio, I get sound, but when I try to record, I don't get it. Nothing tracks. Nothing tracks. However, in the regular instrument track, right, I got a waveform. I briefly tracked I got a waveform. You see that? It's not a big one, but I got a waveform. And so, as you can see, when I, over here, track 23, there's the volume meter. So coming in at minus 8.7. And I got waveforms. However, playback, this track is soloed, and nothing. So I'm at a loss. This is what a moron I am about this stuff. This is what I need help with. I kind of know my way around a synth. Like I kind of know my way around a Moog, right? Yeah, I can get things going. Once I get, I just got to get this shit figured out. I've got a waveform, so why isn't it playing back? It's it's input stereo mix, output master, and just nothing's happening. So I don't know. I'll just go back, and I guess I can just go ahead and delete this. At least it shows waveforms, so maybe I'm almost there. I'm just missing something incredibly obvious. Anyway. Oh, I tried a MIDI track too, but I can't load the Vital VST into a MIDI track. I'm a moron when it comes to this stuff, really. Okay, anyway, enough of that. So, now, here's on to texturizing, the wall of sound. This is the wall of sound. And I'm just going to, I didn't like the way this was sounding previously on playback, so I'm going to set this to another setting. Well, I'll leave this up. Here is where the outro kicks in. Oh, and by the way, NENKO, yeah, this is, you might be thinking, why does it sound so weird, this song? Why? It's weird. It's not, I'm not going for a studio sound. I'm not going for a studio sound, a professional studio sound. I'm trying to create the illusion of that this was played by a really big, really loud band on a big sound stage. Too loud. Like the microphones being used to capture the performance are getting slammed. The compressors are getting kind of slammed. Everything is getting kind of slammed. And even to the point that the speakers on the output are getting slammed and kind of, what's the word? I had the word for it earlier, but I forgot. But it's actually not getting slammed. We're peaking at minus 3. During this section, we peak around minus 2.5. So, a really big live band, really loud. All the amps cranked. And you really hear what I'm talking about when the outro guitar solo comes in. So this is the sound I'm going after. And because I'm bored. Can you appreciate that? Can you dig that? I'm bored. I'm just bored to tears. I'm so bored of good audio. You know? Nice, clean, spacious. Oh, this is spacious in its own way, but guess what, NENKO? There's not a single, well, there's one reverb plugin in this entire mix. One reverb plugin. One. And it's on the backing vocal. And it's not even that wet. Okay, it's got its own kind of spaciousness. And I'm also kind of like, in some ways, I'm kind of thinking of this as a kind of shoegaze. Shoegaze. You know, shoegaze, NENKO? Shoegaze. Like My Bloody Valentine, except not with the, except the vocals are not all washed out. So, yeah. But, yeah, textures. Frequency painting. Phase painting. Envelope painting. Transients. So that's the sound, and I think you really get the idea when the outro guitar solo comes in. It sounds like a tube amp that's just getting slaughtered, you know. And that's all by design. But at the same time, I'm taking measures to make sure that it's really kind on the ears. All right, that's what I'm up to. So I'm just gonna hit play here, and this is where the outro starts. Yeah, and before I do that, I'm just going to zoom out here a little bit. And so this is the beginning of the outro right here. Bass pulse 1, bass pulse 2. I just see these names are just names, okay? And there's these outro parts. And more parts coming in. This is the outro solo. And there's all this going on at once. Your proverbial wall o' sound. Okay? Yeah. So there's a song. Da 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 da. Bam. Outro section. Tonight, tomorrow, I'm going to focus on all right. So just to give you an idea, I'm going to solo these two. This will, so I'm going to solo that one. I'm going to solo the bass, the most important element in this mix. I didn't freeze. I should have frozen the bass track. Anyway, why didn't I freeze the bass track? Okay, solo the drum loop, solo the bass. Bear with me, NENKO. I'm getting to the good stuff. And I'll solo the vocal. Why not? All right. So.
So heavy.
automation.
So heavy, so heavy, so heavy, so heavy, so heavy, so heavy, so heavy.
This is the outro solo right here. So, I just kind of want to build this up from so that when I finally play the wall o sound, you'll be able to hear these textures. Yeah, more readily able to hear these textures. So, let me get this out of the way and go ahead over here. I'm going to solo in the outro to AB. That's the outro solo. Okay. And I'm going to solo in the track called Skystorm. All right. Here we go.
So heavy, he's so heavy, so heavy, he's so heavy, so heavy, so heavy, so heavy, so
I'm just going to let this play out to the end. All right. So I got excited when I saw that phaser plugin that you got for free, because I thought that might help me in my ongoing efforts to texturize this wall. Now I'm going to go ahead and unsolo these tracks and let you hear the wall complete. All right. And what else did I have solo? Okay. Main vocal, bass, drum loop. It's also very important that this bass part cut through that wall of sound. That bass part must always be cutting through. And I've got very little volume drawing, very little volume automation in this mix, very little. I'm using Air Windows tools, Air Windows energy tools to cut through without increasing volume. In some cases, those tools cut through so well that I have to decrease volume. Air Windows tools are really something else. NENKO, really something else. All right. So here we go. I think nothing is soloed. Let me just scan. Oh, I still have outro soloed. That should be muted. Okay. Okay. So here is. Okay, final chorus leading into the outro. And just so you know, here's some other texturizing tools. So I'm just, before I do that, I'm going to, I've got this thing going. So I was thinking that, look, I would like to use some kind of VST effect plugin that would make this sound more like a synth. This thing here is quite. Let me just A/B some of these plugins that I've got on this track that I'm working on texturizing right now. So this is soloed, right? And yeah, oh, there we go. There we go. And ultrasonic, that's to prevent, that's what is it called? A low pass at 20,000 hertz. It's a cutoff at 20,000 hertz to prevent aliasing distortion. Bass amp. Okay, I'm not quite sure whether I want to use that one, right? But I'm still... Oh, Nicola! This one's been off, so let's hear that one A-B'd. Right here. It's a Tesla coil. It's a Tesla coil plug-in. You can set the voltage. I'm still tweaking all this, right? All right, and this phaser, let's hear that. I've got it more or less. This song is 90 beats per minute, and it's more or less in time with the drums. I can't dial in a number, right? I got it as close as I can. I think it's close enough. The volume is dipping. That's okay. Volume kind of dipping, coming back in and out. It's fine. It's a loudinator. This is a widener. It widens and it adds mid-range. All right, so that's what I got going on. Oh, and I loaded Vital in here, and of course, what does that do here? It just doesn't do anything. So it shouldn't be here, right? Okay, so get that out of here. All right, so let's listen to the outro kick in with Ye Olde Wall of Sound. Here we go. That's the gorilla's final grunt. Bass drive. This Nicola bass drive. Bass amp. Bass amp. I'm going to try it without, I'm going to kick in right here. I'm going to try it without bass amp. Bass amp, okay. I'm going to mute this during this section. You can hear the dropout. You hear the dropout in the texture. think it sounds better with the Tesla coil bypassed, actually. It's more distinct and more clear, but still, the mix sounds better without it, I think. I'm not going to give up. There's more that I can do to wrench this around and shear it. And, there's something in that toolkit that's going to do the trick, and it's going to make a distinctive texture that is going to make the mix better and more interesting. And when I mute it during playback, it's going to be like, bring it back, right? That's what I'm... And so I was thinking, with something more like an actual synth. I don't have a MIDI controller. I don't have a keyboard. So I don't know. This is what I'm dealing with right now. This is what I'm trying to. This is what I'm after, right? And then once I'm satisfied with this, I'm going to go on to this guy right here. That, by the way, so actually quite a few, almost all the guitar tracks on here. That's a hard tremolo. That is in. So at the beginning, I suggested it might be kind of fun to collaborate on something. You send me a composition, I figure out the chord changes, if there are any, and I can add stuff. It'd be fun. And if you give me a BPM, just maybe, I've got this thing. I'll show it to you. Let me get the DAW out of the way. This is my audio interface is the M Audio black box, and you can look that up and read more about it if you like. But it is M Audio black box. The M Audio Black Box is a guitar multi-effects processor and drum machine designed for guitarists who want to expand their creative possibilities. Co-developed by M Audio and Roger Lynn Design, combines amp modeling, powerful beat synced effects, and a drum machine. And it's right. So this is my interface for recording, and this is where I get my drum loops, and the time-based effects are all synced to the drum machine, as is the delay. So all the tremolos and sample and holds and all that shit, all of it is synced to the drum. And you can feed the effects and the amp sims and everything. You can feed them through the drum machine. It's really an amazing thing. Yeah, it's just like a 99 different drum loops, but the way you can twist them and distort them, and you can run them through delays, and it's infinite what you can do. So if you sent me something that has a BPM on it, and I match the BPM, would they sync up? Would they match up? I don't know. If not, I could still add, stuff though. Let me show you here. Here's a cool thing I got that you might be interested in. And hang on. Okay, so right. I'm a slide player, have been. Good old brass slide. Here's one that I made. No, this is the brass slide. Brass. It's a Dunlop brass slide. Here's one that I made. No, okay. Damn it, I can't see. All right, there's the brass slide. And that's a stainless steel slide that I made in Tallinn, Estonia, while I was helping an artist weld a sculpture. Years and years and years and years, many moons ago. And so slide playing, and check this thing out. This just might be a really interesting confluence of vibes. Decals, a little bit of decal came off, but that is a National Resophonic Resoelectric hybrid. It's a P90 on the neck. It has a Highlander piezo pickup in the bridge, technically, or saddle. It's a biscuit on top of the aluminum cone. And I don't know, man. Think about it. Some of your electronica, which I dig, man. I really like it. It's calming and soothing and interesting. And it's intelligent. Think about this, man. It's out of tune. I'm pretty rusty on this thing, but yeah, it sounds very banjo-y when you... And it's, it's set in a blues tuning right now, but I know all kinds of tunings. Modal tunings, Modal tunings would suit your stuff really well. And run this thing through my my rig. It can get really interesting. I know I'm not making a very good case for it right now because There's a song on my channel called Million Mile Gaze. It's got some of my slide work in it, if you're interested. Million Mile Gaze. Although that slide work was done on this Korean-made Yamaha SG. It's a Yamaha SG, but it's made by an old Korean man. I did the slide work on that. Anyways, I don't know. I just thought I spent a good hour and a half listening to you work today, and it was soothing and enjoyable, and got me to thinking. Gave me some new ideas. So I thought I'd run this by you. I was really sick this past week, and I really want to thank you for making that video, that introduction to subtractive. What's it called? Subtractive synthesizing. I forget. And I had meant to, spend some more time checking out some of what you're doing there, and I damn near came down with pneumonia. So I finally recovered, and it was nice to actually spend some time with your workflow there. It was cool. It was fun. So I'm not going to keep dragging this out. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, man. I like long-form content, and I like to encourage it. We're like plankton in the YouTube ocean. Got to, look out for each other. I dig what you do. I like it. I'm a fan. NENKO, I'm a fan. All right. So that's it for now, and I'll catch you in the comments, man. By the way, are you in France? Are you French? Or are you in Canada? Are you in Quebec? I can't tell the difference in an accent. I'm just a dumb Yankee. Dumb Yank. Anyway, wherever you are, be well. See you in the comments. Over and out.